So now that we got everything unpackaged and pretty much de-plasticed, now that we got our motherboard out, we can start by putting on our parts. So first, I always like to start with the RAM. It's pretty simple. If you have two, you're gonna want to take out the second one. Well, you're gonna want to unclip the second one and the fourth one. Never go for one and the third because you'll basically sacrifice your dual channel. So anyways, let's get those in. Take out your RAM stick. I'll make sure it is aligned with the notches right here, and here, and here, and here. Make sure when you put in the RAM, it's gonna fit nice and snug. I think you were calling Computer City. No, we do not. Not a problem. Bye-bye. Now that I got your RAM sticks, make sure to install them correctly. So it would be pretty much aligning this RAM stick with the notch right here, and make sure you doesn't go the opposite way and you crush your RAM. Remember, second and fourth. Once you get it in there and you know it's aligned, push in. You should hear a click when you do it. Boom. Make sure it's all the way in and it's flush with each other. As you can see right here, it's flush. It's not going anywhere. So now that you got that done, next is going to be your CPU. Okay, when you get your CPU, make sure you open it correctly and don't just fling it open, because there's a chance where it can pretty much do a backflip coming out the case and fall and break its pins. So once you have it open like this, you're going to want to take the CPU out the plastic box that's been protecting the pins. You're going to want to take this little lever that you see right here next to the CPU socket, and once you lift that up for you, you're going to want to go ahead and install it. Make sure there is a golden tip on the CPU itself right there. Make sure you have it aligned with the arrow right here on the socket. Boom. And once you have it placed in there, you don't want to put too much pressure, or actually, forget it, no pressure at all. You don't want to close the lever just like this. Boom. So now the CPU and RAM is in there. If you have an M.2, you can do the install here and just, get that out the way, and you wouldn't want to do it when the motherboard is in the actual piece. So with every Ryzen CPU, you're most likely going to have a CPU cooler. If you don't, you can buy your own, but usually what you do, if you haven't bought a third-party one, is use the one that's inside the box. But for this one, we got our own CPU cooler, so we're not going to be using this one today. And of course, with every CPU cooler, it comes with some attachments to... Are you kidding me? Now, with every CPU cooler, it's going to come with either a converter to a Intel motherboard, so you can use that. But today, we have a Ryzen, which has these brackets on the motherboard itself that we're going to sit this CPU on. And these little hooks will hook onto the bracket right here. So with every thermal paste type of bottle that might come, or a little pack of it, it's always good to use all the thermal paste that comes with it. I'm kidding, that was a joke. Okay, so you're gonna get your thermal paste. Sometimes it comes in a tube like this, sometimes it doesn't. Mine comes in a tube because I'm special, and this is really cool. So all you gotta do is take out the rubber tip like this, and you're gonna expose all the thermal paste that might have been on it when it's being pushed. So make sure that doesn't get everywhere, because it is a pain trying to get thermal paste out of anything. So what you're gonna wanna do when you apply your thermal paste, it should be the size of a pea. Do not use the whole tube. Do not do multiple, dots all over the processor like it's a cake. You're not baking a cake, icing a cake. You're literally just putting a pea in the middle. Boom. It should be that big. You should not be just laying out thermal paste everywhere, because when we put this heatsink on, there's this copper plate right here is going to squish it, and it's basically going to cover the whole CPU. So you don't need that much, because if you do, it'll get on the sides, and then it will get in the socket where the pins are, and that is a big no-no. You do not want that happening. So after that's done and you put on your thermal paste, if there's any plastic where the copper plate is, you're going to want to take it off, because it will burn up and you will not have a good day. So with this one, with a cooler like this, there's going to be these type of these like brackets where they have a hook right here, or something to hook onto. It's going to be the same on your side. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to line it up with the hook on the bracket right here and right here. Okay, well, now that is done. That took a lot of power. It's not going to be always comfortable when you're trying to put it on, because it's going to have to stick on the board itself. It's not supposed to be just laying on it like it's nothing. It's supposed to stick. It's supposed to stay on. So expect some resistance when you're doing it. You might feel like you're breaking it, but you're really not. So when that's done, you just plug in the CPU fan right here at the top. It'll say CPU fan, all these pins right here, but this will basically power on this fan, which will cool the CPU. So when you're done with that, now we can finally move on to putting this in your computer case. So we are going with the Montech Fighter 500 mid ATX case for today. It's a very nice case. It has a glass front panel, all white interior, including the back as well. I've heard it had okay cable management, so we're gonna have a bit of fun. It also comes with 4 case fans for today. So starting off with every build, when you get to the part where you have everything on your motherboard and you're getting ready to put it all in your case, what you want to do to save yourself time and money is to take off the screws off the front and the back panel, take your front panel and back panel and put it back in the box it came with. And the reason why we're doing that is just because when you're moving around and installing stuff, you're going to be scraping the back or the front or wherever you have it laid out. So you might as well take off the ones that actually show when you put it all together, including this and the back panel. Okay, so now that we got our motherboard and our case out, we're going to want to take our motherboard, place it on the table, and get out our I/O shield. It's basically a type of plate that you put in the computer on the top left to protect the outputs and inputs. You can see that these holes should align with the outputs and inputs right on your motherboard. So if you can align it perfectly and find out that every single output has a home, then you can start by taking this and putting it inside your computer. Boom. And once you have that in, what you're going to want to do as well is these standoffs is what the motherboard is going to rest on and what you're going to use to screw in everything. So make sure that it's aligned with the form factor of your motherboard. So as you can see, it's not, so I have to unscrew a couple screws and use ones that will come with the motherboard and install them right here. Perfect, so now that you have everything screwed in, the motherboard screwed into the case and everything is fitting nice and snug, next thing that I would work on would be getting your power supply inside your case and starting with connecting all the connectors to your motherboard. Every power supply is going to come with a power cable for it. It's gonna come with all the cables that'll end up connecting to the motherboard and graphics card and other parts when you have them. So now that you have your power supply, next thing is going to be putting it into your case. Usually with cases like this, you'll be able to access where the power supply is going to go from the back. Sometimes without the shroud, which is basically this thing covering the power supply to protect it, you can usually put it in there, but this one has a shroud, so we're going to go through the back. So always make sure when you're installing this, the fan is facing away from the motherboard, so it's not going to be going up, it's going to be going down. You're going to want to look right here where the power supply is going to be sticking out of, where you're going to, obviously turn it on, mess with the RGB if you have any on your power supply, and you're going to want to align the holes and screw in. When you get everything all plugged in, you get all your connectors on your motherboard, make sure everything is plugged in and ready to go. Next step is going to be your graphics card. Now with some graphics cards, they actually do not come with a power supply connection. They don't require that much power to function. So for example, this 1050 Ti isn't going to require that, so we're not going to need that. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. It was very fun to make. It was my first time actually having a whole setup making a computer, so it was pretty nice. As you can see, this video that's playing right now, it's our shop. We have a bunch of motherboards, we have a lot of CPUs and 30 series graphics card, along with all the peripherals you can need, including maybe printers if you need that, and other network stuff like modems or routers and Ethernet cables. Everything you can think of is located on Computer City in Puyallup. If you guys want to take a look and stop by and see what you might need or want, definitely do that. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a great day. Peace out.